Hello everyone, Darren here, and welcome back to Cities Skylines. Now in the last episode, we added our first cargo train terminal to our agricultural industry, and it seems to be going pretty well. Trains are loading goods periodically and shipping them off the map, making us big money, while also passenger trains are just navigating around it using our bypass. We had also just built our first taxi depot, expanded our postal service, and grew the population and commercial centers of our city. I also just added a massive shopping center near our university, which has tremendous upkeep costs at the moment, but it looks really nice, so, I'm just going to leave it there. Anyways, today, the focus is going to be primarily on two things: industry and education. So, the plan is to further improve the graduation efficiency of our schools, but also to tackle the unemployment problem by developing our oil industry. So to start with the oil industry, I've got a quick time lapse of building out the new rail line that's going to lead us right there. Let's begin! Okay, so as not to waste any time, we're getting straight into things by putting the railway down, following the arterial road around the outer bounds of our town, following up alongside the world border of the tile that we're on, all the way to the coast, which is where our oil industry is going to be. Now, in hindsight, probably should have turned on the contour lines, although I didn't have much space to work with, so after the fact you can see me zooming in and realizing some of the turns are a little too sharp. Some of the areas aren't quite straight where they should be, so I'm just using the Arrange at Line tool in the Network Multitool mod to just smoothen out the tracks a little bit, get a more consistent curve, and also then just after this to do the Arrange at Slope mode, which will level us out completely because we're going up and down over hills, and that's now going to just give us a nice gradual incline. I think it's a 0.6% decline for every node as we get down closer and closer to sea level, which would be a bit more of a realistic decline for a train. Because some people have said, like, trains don't go up or down at all. They do. If you're going close to the coast and you're starting up somewhere else, of course you have to. But you just have to make that slope as minuscule as possible. Anyway, what I'm doing here is making this awful junction. It's kind of like a three-way junction coming off of a bridge that then leads into a split because of the station nearby. So probably not the best planning on my part, but again, I feel very constrained. I'm really hemmed in by the edges of the map, and that's just where the rail line kind of happens to come in. So to make things look a little bit nicer, I decided to smoothen out the terrain where we carved through after the slope adjusted itself. And then we kind of get raised along the arterial road as well. It doesn't actually look too bad. You can cover it up with a few bushes and trees and it can look a little bit better. I've also... I'm just smoothing out the terrain here. I don't think I actually showed in the time-lapse, but I ended up going around and removing all the oil. So I'm adding in oil now, after I've actually probably already removed it from a lot of the other places. So I took it out of the parks that we had, I took it out of the kind of riverbed that we had, and it's all kind of moved up here. That way the map still has the same rough amount, but we've just kind of moved it to a more convenient place. I also tried to spread it further along the coast to make it not so easy on myself, and I talk about this a little later in the episode, to make the area look a bit more visually interesting as well. Just wanted to give it a few hills, a few bumps, and then remove, of course, a lot of the trees that don't really make as much sense being on the coast anymore. And I just copied one of the other areas from the coast, which has a lot of stones, dead branches, and smaller trees, and then kind of copied that over the sandy area that we have. So I've got a mixture of gravel and, like, oil. The brownish terrain type is the oil. And then the sand is just kind of a visual indicator of, like, the area. It doesn't actually do anything. But it kind of breaks it up, I guess, visually. So now we're carving in the road, just turning in off of that arterial road with a 4-lane industrial road, building a little side lane right next to it, similar to how we had at the agricultural industry, and this is then just adjusting it with the node controller and the move it tool, so that we could just have it almost as close as possible. I just like to have a little lane coming in. And this is just where I plan on putting the cargo terminal and then probably like the main industry building itself. And I'm just, blending a few things in, and that's basically it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the new and improved oil industrial area, ready for exploitation right on the edge of the bay. And we can see a little discrepancy in the shading of the water at the bay, and that's a little bit of pollution that's been creeping in for a while now from our 4 eco water outlets. Although they are eco, they don't remove pollution entirely, they just reduce it. So we are seeing the effects of that ever so slightly out there. We can look at it in the infographics in a moment. Now, what I would like to do eventually is clean that up so we can actually exploit it and do some fishing. That'd be nice to combine with the industry out here. Now, of course, this is going to be oil, and that's our focus for now. We've just got our lovely new rail line going parallel to sort of our world tile border, and then wrapping around the city and snaking along the river before it crosses the river over to our agricultural industry to link up with the other cargo terminal, and of course, the exit off to the right of the map and the exit off to the left. We have this little triangle-y junction thing, which It's the best I can do, okay? Alright, so, to get into the episode proper, let's take a look at things. How is everything? 700,000 in the bank. We've been kind of hovering over there for a little while, even during the time lapse, and that's basically because of the inordinate costs that this shopping center is setting us back. So we obviously have a weekly income display here. It doesn't give us the full picture. We almost want a yearly budget, would probably be the nice thing to have, or a monthly expenses and income, because every 6 weeks or so, we tend to be shipping off a large amount of goods, and that brings in a big cash injection, and then we're sort of paying for that for the other 6 weeks, while all the services and stuff run, costing us upkeep. But overall, I think we are actually still gaining. If there's ever a problem, this building might have to come down, but I just love it. I think it looks so cool. So I'd really like to not do that. Now, one thing I want to get started with, well, two things. Let's start with the budget panel. We're going to just creep up the taxes to 11% for both high-density residential and for commercial. But Darren, don't you know that you can bring it up to 12% and there's no negative effects? Yes. But how do you sleep at night doing that kind of thing? Alright? Acknowledged. Stand down. Now, we are taxing the industry area 12%, because fuck them, right? But other than that, yeah, keep it at 11%. I'm totally fine with that. If we get desperate, we'll bump them. But for now, 11%. That's what I'm happy with, okay? Someone's got to pay for the shopping center. Alright, so, education. Before we get started and actually build out the industrial area for oil, we have to focus on education. So I've been looking at things and I realized this high school, as great as it is, and in an area that I thought would be interesting for future expansion, is kind of actually not in a great place, because the efficacy or the efficiency rating of our high school all the way up here is fairly low for the students that are traveling to it. Now, the closer you are to where people go to school, the more efficiency there is for graduating. So I guess you could kind of think of it like they miss less school days if they're very close to it, right? Something like that. So I want to move it a little closer. So what I'm going to do is grab this road in particular, and we'll just drag this straight down. I want to join it to here. So that's where that line kind of meets. So we'll stop it right about there, and we'll stop this one right about there. And then we'll go with our curved road. Just go out to that edge where we get the line and then join them. Now that's going to cut our power, so we'll just get that power up and running again. And there we go. We have a nice bendy road. So let's grab this and move it. And now we can see a nicer efficiency rating. So the reason I'm stopping it around here is because this is probably going to be a bit residential, and so is this area here, depending on how the city grows in the future. So this is a nice, still relatively central location to where they could have all that stuff. It's going to be on a bit of a bend, though. I guess we could pop it down here and maybe just rotate it slightly so that correct the angle. Just slightly. Okay, so another important thing with this, we're running the realistic population mod, so you can see that little tab here that can take us into it to learn more about the building. Now, I was looking into this, and I'd noticed that in planning future expansion, I was thinking, okay, we're at 60. Oh, actually, I've already made the change. So I'll show you what I've done. Let's just turn that off for a second, update and save. Right. So this is the normal amount. We were normally storing, or had the capacity for 800 students in our high capacity elementary school. 800. And we're getting close to that number, 640 out of 800. And there's still many more to come. Lots of area to be filled out. And our regular schools do 300, right? So 300 elementary schools, and then the high capacity is all the way up to 800. But I'd noticed that the realistic population mod says that it's supposed to be 4,332. That's what the students are. It says if you calculate the floors without any changes from me, this is what it's saying. It says there's these many floors. Each floor can hold this amount of students. And I assume this is input from the mod author. I don't know where they get their numbers from, but you can actually see that you can refer to the Minnesota Department of Education guide, the lowest density, and scroll through that to medium, high, the UK standard, which seems to be very high, or you can go with the suburban school default or vanilla base game. So I'm not sure specifically what these different numbers mean, because nothing seems to change as you scroll through it, right? These numbers are all changing, but nothing is actually changing. You can hit save. It doesn't seem to really matter. Yeah, nothing really seems to change. So we'll just leave it on what it was. But what we can do is override it and set it to whatever number we want. So you can set it to 20,000 if you want. Now, I want to be fairly realistic. I believe 800 is just not the intended number. That's like the vanilla game number, I'm pretty sure. So what we want to do is actually like make it so it fits within the scope of the mod. Now 4,000 seems to take it to the other extreme, I would say. But we could say that 4,000 is about 5 times the amount of the base game. You know, 800 times 5 is 4,000. So maybe we could do 800 times 3 and sort of meet in the middle. So 8, 16, 24. And that's why I end up with 2,400. So we'll click override, add custom settings, and hit save. So hopefully people kind of agree with that. By the way, the good thing here in terms of game balance is we pay the extra upkeep. This was 500 upkeep until I just did that. So we are paying for this. So it totally fits, in my opinion. Now the same kind of goes for the high school. Let's just give them water, seeing as they're complaining. Okay. The high school building, though, even though it is a high capacity building, doesn't look that big, in my opinion. Like it's large, but it's about the same size, if not maybe even potentially smaller than the elementary school. Although the elementary school, if you really look at it, has like a basketball court and stuff inside of it. So I guess you could say there's like wasted space in there. Although I suppose up here there's like a little balcony for people to have their food and stuff. Anyways, long story short, I feel like it should be higher than the elementary school. It's aiming for 6,093, but that's, I feel like, way too high. So I think, again, meeting somewhere in the middle and just saying it is more than the elementary school, but not that much more. Something like 3,600 might be good. And hit save on that. So that means we're going to pay for that as well. So it's really expensive. But I feel like we should eat the cost up front. I'm not going to cheese it and just adjust it as we get later in. Let's be fair as we can. If I'm going to be increasing the amount that these can hold at all, I think it's only fair that we pay for the cost now, even though the money is just skyrocketing anyway. So hopefully that explains all that. I just wanted to address that. Now that this building is a bit closer, all things looking good, I also wanted to add a public library. So that's what we're going to do as well. So we already have one actually over in the Victoria Square. So basically here's where my public library is. Can we find one real quickly? I don't know where it is. I'll just quickly search. Alright. Bonk. I'm sure I just scrolled past it. It's no big deal. So we can see the nice radius of this building. Again, something like here would actually cover a lot of the districts. Now, the public library, I had said in the previous episode that adults don't change their education level ever. They do slightly with the public library, but it's really small. But it's still a little bit, so may as well pop one down. They don't cost that much to upkeep. So I think near the high school is kind of a good place to have this. Maybe we'll stick it right here. So maybe we'll notice over time a few more graduates and a few more people attending our university. So to work it back just really quickly, why the hell do we want to do this at all? It's because we have a very low amount of people graduating or getting to university in the first place. Now, it just takes time, and I just want to speed that time up. So I feel like we'll get there eventually. It's not really a massive problem, but something that is becoming a problem is we had unemployment at about 20%, and we're bringing it down slowly. But there's a huge amount of available jobs. It's like, oh, there's 1,000 jobs. Go take the jobs. But they can't because they're not educated enough. So we have to wait for them to become educated. And all of these houses are now families. So they're raising kids. And the kids will start to slowly get educated as they graduate. So long story short, it's just going to take a little bit of time. We have a policy running to improve education and boost education. We can actually run the other one for the public library boost, thinking about it. Let me see where that is. Let's just move this to here. And bonk. Right, so down at the bottom, the book fair, that's the one. Public libraries upkeep is doubled, but it increases the happiness and entertainment within them. Sure, do it. For profit education, the building upkeep is halved, but it reduces happiness. Let's not do that. Free Wi-Fi, what does that do? Reduce mail accumulation by 15%. Yeah, they can have free Wi-Fi. Why the hell not? We have our mail building just there. 13 vans are in use right now. The mail budget has been increased as well, so there's more out than would otherwise be. Also, just wanted to mention, before we get into things further, built a little tennis court here, just next to the university. I think it looks kind of nice. It fit inside of the little area we created, the bus sort of mini bypass kind of road thing. I also gave it like a little name or some text on the ground, just like taxis and buses, just for fun. Buses are doing their thing going around here, delivering people, although that one doesn't have anyone on it. The purple line is often just dropping people here, and then people will just walk to university, I've noticed. Although there is the potential for taxis and people to come here. Obviously, once the population here grows a bit, we'll see that a little bit more in the future. Never noticed actually how they drive in and out of this area, thinking about it. He seemed to come in from that angle. Let's see. This taxi's about to do it now. So he just goes in and just drives over the crest, does he? Oh, I guess he's He's had a call somewhere else. He's going to go pick up Tony Alexander. Yeah, and we have people getting out here. Oh, and that one just disappeared. Well, that's great. So, basically, some people had said, hey, don't you know, there's, you can actually get your own bus lane. I was lamenting the fact that I didn't have a road with just bus lanes on it. And people said that you can actually get this, right? It's a bus-only express ramp. You can have 2 lanes with it. But you can't put a bus station on it. So it just goes onto the highway. The other ones then are either big roads, or we have this one's a pretty close one, a 3-lane one-way road with a bus lane. So that would actually fit pretty nicely with what I want. It would mean like we have the taxi on the left, we have the bus on the right with the specific bus lane, and then the middle, I guess, just a free road maybe for people to go through. I don't know. I just think it'd be too much. I really just wanted 1 lane. A very local, small, 1-lane road. Also, it's so dark. I just want to check. Am I running the right profile? I am. I guess it's just nighttime. Anyway, long story short, I know there's another one. You can also paint a pedestrian area and get a specific bus-only road, but it actually doesn't allow taxis, and even with TMPE, you can't force it to allow taxis onto it. So I suppose at the end of the day, what I want is a bus and taxi lane like this, but just on its own. So if that exists, tell me, and that can have a bus stop next to it. If that exists, let me know, because the highway express ramp doesn't allow you to put stuff next to it. So yeah, unless I'm missing something. Alright, cool. Starting to fill out the area a little bit. Let's get to our oil, shall we? Or we'll just speed up time now during the night. Let's check on traffic and stuff. Oh yeah, this is something I've been meaning to do. I need to improve the road network down here. By the way, this place has gotten busier since the cargo terminal has gone down. So, not sure what's the deal with that. A lot of people still taking their stuff, exporting agricultural goods straight off the map, you know, rather than just bringing everything to the terminal. So, I don't know. They're using the terminal a lot, but they're also just sending stuff off the map anyway. I guess maybe ultimately we're just making too much of certain things. Maybe. But what we can do, maybe to ease congestion, is I'm going to grab our industrial road. We're going to make it a one-way road. Leave it like this. Pause time just for a second. Upgrade. And rotate it so it's facing out that direction. Okay. Actually, do I need to do it there? I don't think so. Maybe I'll just leave that. Just for a moment. Right, but what I do want to do is grab that again and do it here. Now there's a problem. There's a node really close by here. Legacy node. I just have to delete that. Alright, that's okay. Let's just check our speeds and stuff again. So 50 is kind of the speed I have designated for this entire area. Unless it's a dirt road. Dirt roads were supposed to be 40. That just might speed up a little bit getting around. Okay. Garbage piling up. We have to wait for a garbage truck to get out here to fix that. So basically now, the rules are as follows. If you're leaving the place, you stay on that lane and head out. If you're heading back in, you go in there to circle it back around. Everyone that's coming in, though, they cannot go this way anymore. They have to take a right. As soon as they come in off here, they have to take a right and go this way, which will lead them to the cargo terminal or lead them to go to all these different buildings, and it'll pass all these ones as well. So hopefully it's okay. We'll see how it kind of shakes out. The only issue would be a building like this. Like, to get to that, they have to come in, go around, and get to it. But not many trucks are really having to do that, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But we'll see how the flow goes. See if this helps anything. I might have to do a little lane connecting stuff around here, but other than that, I think it should be okay. Yep. Alright, let's leave it as is. So, next up is oil. Now it's daytime again. So we're going to put down another cargo terminal. Oh yeah, our money is actually falling down. Well, we did just build a few things. Alright. Cargo terminal. There she is. Alright, cargo train terminal. I'm going to put it right on the edge. How far over can we get it, actually? they're going to be coming in this way, thinking about it, not this direction. So I'll have to change that. So let's just get rid of this bit of the track, and maybe that bit as well. Bring that right out to the edge. Maybe right about there. Want to leave some room for warehouse on the other side. Okay. In fact, we'll put the warehouse down right now. So, warehouses, small warehouse. Does it fit? It does, yes. And we're going to set that to be petroleum. Now, petroleum cannot be imported, so I don't have to worry about it accidentally filling. And it looks nice. It looks like it's all part of the same kind of thing. Can I just move that? Would I be able to move it even slightly to the left? Maybe this one to the left as well, just by one? There we go. A bit more uniform. Alright. I should have maybe done some landscaping first, thinking about it. So let's do smoothing. Let's just turn that music down a bit. Let's just smoothen this out. And then we can actually level out the train tracks as well then. Alright, let me get rid of some of these trees. They're kind of in the way. Alright, so let's grab the railway. We'll join it to here. And now there's probably a bit of a dip. A bit strange. So we can grab the network multi-tool. We'll set the slope. And if we just go from here to here, it'll even it out if we just press enter. And then maybe we can just smoothen that a bit. See if we can just blend it a little bit more nicely so we don't notice the seams as much, but it's still the same height. We're not changing the height. Bit better. Alright, cool. So there we go. We have our railway. Now, as far as I know, we don't have to connect it to some place where it turns around. The train should come in. It might flip or just reverse out, I think. I'm not sure. We'll see. Alright, so we have to connect this place with water and power. So there's power down here. Just cross over. Alright, there we go. Power line's running next to the train tracks, so power is hooked up. Might turn on the vitals actually just to see how we're doing with that. Seems okay. Barely. Okay, and that's water. So this is a medium-sized industrial road. We have a junction here with traffic lights. Lights are green. People are going on by. Alright, great. Things are looking good. And then we have all this oil out here now. So it's really close to the coast. And I lifted all the oil away from the parks and things that we had. I deleted one of the fields out here full of oil. I'll probably delete those ones as well. The idea was to keep the same amount of available units consistent, so I'm not, like, again, kind of cheating. I'm just moving it from irregular places over to one more consolidated place. But also, I didn't want to just dump it in one area. It's still spread out along the coast, so we'll have to work our industry around that area. Speaking of, let's actually start painting the industrial area. Okay, so grab this out to here. Go up. Bring it down along this area, I guess. And just see if we can, I don't know. I like to clean these up a bit. I wish they were on a grid. Bugs me that they're not. It's just a circle. I end up making like a big area, whoops, like a big area and then trying to chop it away by just using WASD. But this is on the very edge of our map anyway. Well, I guess we could leave that. That's fine. But then we just go like this. Yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, just something like that, just so it looks a bit more uniform. Okay, so Myrtle region, we're going to call this Shoreline. After the bad guys in Uncharted 4. Shoreline Company. Alright, that's going to be our oil, and it's on the shoreline, so it just seems to make sense. Shoreline oil. So to make it an oil area, we have to actually specify the industry. So oil industry, it's again, just like the agricultural stuff, we have our main industry building. and then it's going to have processing buildings, etc., etc. So just there we go. So extractor buildings to processing into petroleum and to plastic, I guess, but I don't think we get plastic for quite a while, and then something unique later on if we combine it with another building. So I was thinking just popping it right down here. Let's see why not. 30,000, and that starts our oil industry area. So we get ourselves a small oil pump, a pyrolysis plant, and some storage. And I might see if we can just shift that over just a bit. Hopefully it still works if we move it that much. I think it should. Alright, cool. First little building, what are you doing? Is there a bump there? You seem to like kind of glide down quite a bit. This is a bit weird having a road like this. I struggled with it when building it, but you should be... Yeah, you should be in line, right? Oh, I can see why there's a bump, but yeah, that's okay. Whatever. We'll see how it plays out over time. We need to change the direction of that road, though. It's facing the wrong way. Okay. So we should be facing the correct direction now. So if we just go traffic. There we go. I just wanted to see the arrows just to make sure. But what we have is a junction here now. I don't want that. Now this medium road, I don't think you can cross over, right? We have all these little cones and stuff in the middle. So obviously I think if you're on this side you can't get to there. So it's important that people can take the turn in here and reach these areas. So what we'll do is we'll grab this again, and I don't know, let's just bring this straight down and start building out our little industry, I guess. What is this? 4-lane industry road, small one. Oh, yeah. Oh my god, alright, apologies, I have hay fever, so I just had a big sneezing fit. I just had to take a moment to clear everything up. So apologies if I sound kind of nasally. Just can't really do anything about it. All right, so we have our industrial road coming out here on top of the oil resource itself. Now, unlike the farms, the fertile land, or even forestry, we do consume the natural resource here, and it will go away as we leave our buildings processing. So we'll have to snake our way along the shoreline and along up this way if we want to grab all the oil, because we need to get to level 5 as an industry before we can actually use the offshore drilling platform to get the oil that's out in the bay. So because of that, we've got to be quite careful with what we do, I suppose, and just make sure we're leveling up or we're getting the proper amount of units in this area so that we can level up. I think we'll be fine, but you know, we just have to keep a bit more attention on it than we did previously. So already we've got 26 workers here, so that's good. Now what is the goal actually? So the goal is to get to 500 resources and 75 workers. That should be easy enough. So, let's start thinking about... So we just need an oil pump. Now, they have a radius around them for what they can grab. I'm going to put one out here, oddly enough, just to grab that little bit that's up there. So 2,400 units per week, it says. So that's fine. And then maybe we'll just put down another one like here, another one there. So that's 3 online. They're just little drills. They'll do their thing. And they'll actually clear the terrain around this area. When they do, then we can use this area for more industrial building, if we don't buy the next tile, of course. And I'd like to get to like having a ferry cargo terminal and stuff like that, but I haven't got it unlocked yet. We need 3,200 population, so we've got a long way to go before we get there, unfortunately, because I actually thought we could get doing that pretty soon. So 5 out of 8 workers, so 8, 16, 24 extra workers we've just added with these different buildings if they all fill up. We can obviously just build loads out here. There's no limit to it, so might as well just do it. And you never lose the oil. We have this set as petroleum, and that's because we want to do our first refinement building. So this would be this one, oil sludge pyrolysis plant. So if we're grabbing oil from there and there, we could probably put it somewhere like down here, and it would just get fed straight down to it. That be an issue? I don't really see an issue with that. It just means that what comes out of the petroleum then has to make its way back over this way. Alright, I've just changed my mind slightly. I'm just going to move this a little bit down here. And we'll just put our first one, our first little pyrolysis plant right here. I don't think we remove any of the resources, so it shouldn't be an issue. And then they can just fill this up with oil. So this and this can just send their trucks straight in here. And when this is done, it can actually just come straight out and across and deliver it into the different storage areas that we have. Excuse me. So another one then is the actual oil storage. Small crude oil tank farm. Could put it like around here. Down the road. Sure. Actually, changed my mind. Of course. Alright, sorry, it just had another, like, sneezing fit, basically, so I'm back. So effectively, I was thinking, like, if we put the storage here on this road, so on this road, when we have the road creeping out along the shore and we're just picking everything up with all these little oil pumps, they'd all travel along and basically hit that storage here, which would be good. So that's why I was thinking of putting it facing this direction. We could have it facing this direction, which means they have to turn out, go into it, then turn around somewhere and come back. I think this is probably better for the future, but for now this would make sense. But we'll do this for the future. Future-proof just a little bit. Alright, there we go. So that's our oil industry basically set up. We have our first little pyrolysis plant. Oil sludge treatment is the top investment to make. Do not #waste oil or environment. It's time to pump that black gold. Yeehaw! Why isn't the local government doing anything to stop the fires? Don't worry about the fires. Worry about the oil. Alright, so we can leave things for a little while, and we should start to see trains arriving for the cargo terminal. We should start to see petroleum filling up. We have a warehouse here that's set to balanced. This is also set to balance. So we might be importing oil at first or something. I probably should have let it build up, actually, in the extractor buildings before doing that. But we'll see how it goes. And then how many people are we employing now? 72 out of 75. So you know what? We'll just get another one of these. You can't actually copy those, so we'll just grab one. And we'll pop it somewhere down here. Why the hell not? That could be why. Apparently they need water. Okay. Alright. Well, there we go. That's oil industry setup. So what else was the plan for this episode? Well, that was really it. Let's see if we've corrected the traffic situation down here or eased it slightly. Maybe slightly, actually, yeah. Okay, so it's the crack of dawn. I've been looking over things during the evening and seeing, like, what could we do next? So I thought I would just talk about the traffic situation here down in Crown Farms. We've largely solved it with my little one-way street. It's kind of eased things a bit. I wouldn't say solved it. It's eased the traffic on the roads. However, what does happen still is these farms, in particular, all have their cycles synced up. Almost all of them, I guess. Where they all just pump out trucks all at the same time that all are going to the same place. Some of them are going to these two big silos, but a lot of them are going to these 6 silos here, or these storage areas. And that really crowds this road, and it just causes congestion, and then it inevitably kind of causes this, like, overall backup. So what I was thinking of doing, I won't do it right now, but is you could just turn off these buildings for a little while. There's actually no worker here, weirdly enough. You could turn them off and just stagger them a bit more so that all the trucks don't come out at the same time. Look at this. See the way they all just, like, pump out? All at the same time. It's quite funny to see. But it just creates mass congestion all at the same time. And that's because I paused time and put them all down one by one. When really, you could just literally turn off the building, maybe wait a day in-game, turn it back on. And then you could kind of offset that a little bit if you wanted to. Bit micromanagey, I guess, but this is what we have here. Just a lot of congestion around the same storage areas. And then some of them are trying to pull that away and free it up and bring it to the cargo terminal and stuff. So I just thought I would talk about that. It's kind of interesting, I thought, anyway. All our buses have rolled out for the day. People had mentioned that you could perhaps, to ease the amount of people traveling on this line or just getting over to the intercity bus terminal, they could probably just take a metro from this location all the way over to this location. So linking the two... Let's call this the town and the city, right? Linking the town to the city with a metro station would probably be a good idea. A much higher volume of transport. However, if the stop wasn't here and it was just still over there, they would still want to get a bus to go over there. They don't seem to want to walk that distance. I don't really know why. It's not that much further, but it seems to be an issue for them. So you could have another metro station like somewhere down here or on the edge as it goes from, let's say, here, straight along down. Another one at the edge like here, and then over into Victoria Square. So I don't want to do it right now. I'm kind of conserving money just for a little while to see how it's all playing out, and then we could do it. Anyway, in between, let's see how this area is doing now. So we haven't actually made any petroleum just yet, or if we have, it hasn't. Yeah, we're making some, but it hasn't gone over to the storage just yet. We have 98 out of 147. We're making 81 resources. So that's just it's only a matter of time building up the resources before we'll level up the industry. So that's good. We can leave that in the background. But we've got a demand for more residential. So I thought we could fill out this area now. So let's paint. Just paint it all. Why not? And then we'll put down the services and all of that kind of stuff. Make sure they're all good. I think we can handle it, although we're getting a little tight on electricity and stuff. I'll get rid of the ones on the roundabout soon. Alright, good. I don't want to build on this inside bit. This is going to be a park. I'll keep saying that, but never doing it, I guess. Alright, so let's just remove some of the little bits around the roundabout itself. There we go. It's better to use this tool, I guess. Is that it? Pretty much? Just a few little odds and ends that maybe don't need to be here. Alright, there we go. So that should fill up nicely. Let's just extend the water network. Just seems like there's a little bit missing here. I should say as well, there was a few comments and things about like adding tons of stations to this and adding like expressways and everything. I just don't think we're at that level yet. I mean, it's good to think 30 hours ahead, but that is what some people I feel like are doing. It's like you are way too far ahead for where we're at, I think. But I am reading the feedback. Some of the ideas I'll use when I think they're applicable. But for now, I don't think we need to. Actually, I haven't noticed if a train has come in here yet, so it'd be good to kind of keep an eye on that. How are we doing for this? It's 47% full. Let's speed up time, see if we notice our first train coming in yet. A train might... Oh, there's one, actually. It's going away. So it obviously came from that area. Is it going... Yeah, it's going backwards. That's so weird. Because there's no engine on the front. It's just reversing the whole way. Yeah, that's weird. But I guess that's just because we don't have a loop, right? There's no way to loop around. I thought they kind of come in and then they... Well, I don't know what I thought they did. I thought they just flipped on the spot or something. Because trains do appear here. If we produce a train here, it'll come out facing the right way. It's just trains that come in this way, I guess, have to just reverse out. That's really weird. People are using these roads just fine, though. I'm happy to see that. I wonder, so if we have a look at the amounts. So yeah, we just imported a bunch. That's usually what happens when you put down storage for the first time. I'm okay with it. We've produced 104 of our own resource units. I'm just wondering, so we produced 3 barrels of oil, and 2 of them get consumed in the petroleum building at the moment. Okay. How are they doing? So that's still doing 2,400 per week, so that's fine. This is still doing 2,400 as well. So that number will change when it starts to run out of its resource. But we're obviously fine. Alright, cool. Feeling pretty good. Let's just keep time moving. So we've painted all that in, but there's no demand for it at the moment. There is demand for more commercial. I was thinking actually up here in future could be a nice little area for commercial as well. But maybe we'll just continue building a little bit of smaller commercial out this way. I know it's a little bit of noise pollution, but maybe they'll be okay with it. Yeah. Oh, interesting. That park actually provides a lot of noise pollution. People did mention that. You gotta be careful which parks you place where. How's the school doing? 990 now. Well, that's great progress. We're seeing it all filling up and getting used, which is good. 901. What about here? So we were on about 2 something when we first looked at it. Yeah, it still seems kind of the same. 269. Okay. Does anybody use this stop? I feel like a few people do. Yeah, a few people do. No one's really using the taxi service at the moment, and people pointed out that the depot is sort of like an industrial building in a way. Like, it shouldn't really be the place where you expect people to get their taxis. So I'm going to move this. I feel like somewhere here would actually make sense. You could obviously remove industry. I'll just pop it right there, because then it just means that taxis will be rolling out that way. And I'm okay with that. That's what I feel like the buses should do. Buses roll out right here, right at that point, and they go this way, and then circle around and go that way. I have no idea why they do that, why they can't just pull out to the right. I assume it's because we're just too close to that junction, maybe. But it's really frustrating that they do that. I just don't know why they can't just come out and go. They do this big U-turn up here. Another thing is, people mentioned the walkability of the city. Let's actually just touch that up a little bit. So, people walk on sidewalks, yeah? I'll notice this all over the place. People are using the sidewalks, utilizing the sidewalks to great benefit. No problem. People are there biking and everything. Actually, they just went from a bike lane onto the path. I don't know why, but my point with that simply is a lot of people are advocating for more pathways, like all the time. They're like, just more pedestrian paths. Can we have more pedestrian paths? You need more pathways. Pathways, pathways, pathways. Now, I'm of two minds about this. For one, people do walk the sidewalk. That's what it's there for. I know there's a road, but people do walk the sidewalks. So I'm not sure what the problem is necessarily just there in and of itself. People also are biking on the bicycle paths. Great. We'd love to see it. We've encouraged biking. Not too sure, just I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not too sure why people are so adamant about more of these. Now, I think it's because another YouTuber is doing that, right? They're doing like a walking only city or something. I think it's I'm Kibitz, right? I genuinely don't know, because I just don't have the time to watch other people that much. It's either him or I'm City or City Planner Plays that are probably doing that. And I'm sure it's a good thing to have. You want people to be able to walk in your cities. I have no doubt about it. But I'm not looking to build a city where it's walking only, I guess. I'm fine with having roads, you know? So I'm trying to think about it where I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, we want to have lots of paths. We want very low traffic if possible. I think we've done that. But man, I just see that comment constantly where it's like, you need more paths, you need more paths. Like, do I? People walk on the sidewalk though, don't they? Don't they treat that the same as a regular path? Like, the pathways are like cut-throughs to bypass having to like take a longer route. So we've got pathways here, you know, like you can go in between and around these cul-de-sacs and stuff, like, you know, kind of avoid things. But I don't know about over here where else I would need pathways. I mean, I feel like they'll just walk these routes just fine. So maybe I'm wrong with that. I need to add more power, because power is getting kind of rough during the evenings. But anyway, make a case for it. You know, correct me where I'm wrong. But I was actually going to remove this path, or at least tuck it further in, because it doesn't seem to get much use. It's getting a little bit of use. It would be nice to just grab that node, this node, and maybe... let's just use these two and push these in. Maybe I could add another node in between. Time is playing, but those people just stop moving. There you go. Nice. So that's a bit more seamless. Connect straight into the edge of the city there. And the other one on the other side as well would be good to do. Alright, a little bit more seamless. Yeah, I think so anyway. So I'll have to maybe go through this a little bit more, and then we need to expand some of the streets out. Some of the houses might actually have to be deleted just a little bit. Because that road, for instance, this could some of these can definitely be extended out. We could build a little crossway. Can you do that actually with this, thinking about it? If we had a node here, and this was a crossing. Yeah, it does create a gap in the median. I was just making sure it would do that. Because people can't cross over otherwise. I mean, it would make sense to add a few of those in to encourage the walkability of the city. But I'm seeing a lot of people walking on the paths. I have no problem with this. This is all good. That is a huge dog, by the way. All right, so how's our education doing? 1075. Wow, it's flying up. People are using that school left, right, and center. Let's do education. That's our graduation metrics. So this household is pretty much all graduated. We've got 10 educated, 32 well-educated, 1 highly educated. Excellent. Love to see it. High school and university. No one's graduated university in this block yet. High school, we've seen that those houses there. The public library, they've got good usage. Not entirely efficient, though, the whole way across. People are too lazy just to travel that small distance. So I think in the next episode, what I'm probably going to focus on is 2 things. I think we'll finally build out this park. And maybe a smaller park in here. Because I talked about that before as well. And then also connect the 2 places with Metro. Be a big cost, though. I feel like money is a little tight. Oil should start generating us a good amount of money, though, soon. So we've actually saved up some. So let's say empty this. Petroleum. How many barrels of petroleum? 16 barrels of petrol. So this truck is just leaving the warehouse. And it's exporting goods. And it's going to go straight into the cargo terminal. Perfect. I know it's a weird thing, the way it's going. Maybe this should be a 2-way road, thinking about it. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it with 1 way. Because he could have just come out of there and gone straight in. But good to see that it's going into the train station. That might take a while for it to actually ever get shipped. I wish you could click this and see what's in there, you know? You don't actually get to see it. You just have to wait for a train to come by, and then you'll make your money when it goes off map, I think. I wonder, do you make your money as soon as it goes in, actually? I'm assuming not. I'm assuming it has to leave the map before that happens. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, and how are we doing with that? 192 resources. So I reckon we just get a little crazy and put down a few more of these and really get cracking. Should we do freeform road maybe? You know what? Let's just undo that real quick. There we go. All right. This is purely just for extractor buildings, and then we can have it coming in and off in all different directions. If we just get these and we just try to evenly space them out, I guess. And then we have to feed them water. And maybe power, actually, thinking about it. Yeah. That'll actually kind of look cool, though. Alright, there we go. So that's our little oil extractors all up and running now. It's going to cost us a lot of power. So in the next episode, I've got to focus on fixing power. We just hit 13,000. We've provided jobs to people, more and more jobs, which is good. Keep increasing. We can't build much else into this place, but once we get like a worker barracks and different things, then we can add more and more people. 148 though, already almost double what we need. I assume for the next tier will be good. Actually, something I never thought about is we have policies as well. Improve logistics. Increase the storage capacity of extractors and processing buildings by 20%, but the upkeep cost of industrial buildings by 10. Nah. Increase the health of workers and cost 1 per affected worker. No. Production output, 10%. We'll leave it all. I'll think about it. I'm thinking of it more for the farming industry, actually. Alright, I think that's going to have to be it for this episode. Kind of a weird one. I feel like I had to stop and start a lot because I had allergies. But things are looking good, except for money. I feel like it's just a little tight since we did that earlier. But I'm happy about the education thing. Unemployment came down by 5% in this episode, so that's good. Still have 10% seniors across the board. Traffic is okay, 52%, or sorry, 82%. It's quite busy on this connection road now between here and ultimately a lot of people coming out of the city. So they're coming across down onto the roundabout and getting into here. People are trying to get to Victoria Square. So I think this metro would help things quite a bit. So somewhere along here is going to be a metro stop. I just don't exactly know where we're going to fit that in. Because there isn't much space here without maybe removing some buildings or removing the pathways. If you get rid of a pathway here and here, shift this building over, and I think a metro tunnel is only like 2 tiles or something, a 2x2, something quite small, so maybe it would fit that way. Alright, I think that's going to have to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Again, leave your suggestions and feedback in the comments below, and I'll try to implement what I can, but parks and transport, I think, will be the next episode. Alright, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.